This next topic,
Juicy.
It is quite juicy, and several other YouTube personalities have already commented on them or on this issue, and so it's time for us to give our 2 cents. And my take on this may be a little bit of a softer approach to it. I have an inside source who we're not going to identify.
You got to watch your mouth about that inside source.
Yes, I do. So, and I'm going to be quoting very liberally from the Kotaku.com article, which everyone is talking about the story. So, there's a GameStop program called Circle of Life, and
yeah, we're not doing that. Okay, continue.
I know what you were gonna go for there, and I'm glad it flubbed.
Right.
But the Circle of Life.
Wow, you hypocrite! My gosh,
I stole it from you.
Okay.
So what it does is it gives each GameStop store different percentage quotas. This breaks down into pre-orders, reward card subscriptions, used game sales, and game trade-ins. So, what they basically want you to do is they break down into the different things are based on like let's talk about the pre-orders and the reward card subscriptions. Like they just have to be a certain percentage out of all of your transactions as a sales representative. Let's say you've got 20, you have to hit 25% of your transactions have to have a pre-order. So 1 out of 4 people you talk to, you need to get them to pre-order a game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a metric for that. And then you've got a metric for also getting the GameStop rewards program, making sure that that's done. There's also, and then the sales break down differently as far as used game sales go. Like if a store's quota is 30%, if the store sells $1,000 worth of merchandise on any given day, $300 of that is supposed to be pre-owned. The reason for this is that is where GameStop makes most of its money.
Where?
From the pre-owned stuff that they sell.
Oh, yeah.
From used games.
Yeah, because people always buy those.
Well,
the used
because
games. They're so much cheaper.
Well, they're cheaper.
What?
Like if a new game comes out.
Yeah.
Like let's say what game? Resident Evil 7.
Mm-hmm.
That is a $60 game. I'm sure if you trade it in, you're probably going to get about $20 for it, to be honest. They're going to turn around, they're going to sell it for $55.
Really?
Yes. That's a huge profit for them to do that.
Yeah.
And all they're doing is the game is simply coming into their position for a little while, and then they are selling it to someone else. So that's why, that's honestly, years ago, that's why I stopped selling or trading in games, because I just felt it was a ripoff.
Is there a place that could give you more of your money's worth for it?
Go to Craigslist or
eBay.
Yeah. Just sell stuff on there.
Mm-hmm.
If you just want to get rid of your personal collection. And for the longest time, I just came to the decision. I was like, you know what? I'm probably going to want to play these games in the future. I'll just hold on to them unless it's a game I really don't like. There's been a few instances where I have traded in because I didn't care if I got nothing for it. I just wanted to get rid of the game.
Get it out of my sight.
I don't want this in my house.
You are no game of mine.
So that's why they push that a lot. So,
push what?
The pre-owned games.
The
pre-owned games. So when you go into a GameStop store, now this doesn't happen all the time. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was in GameStop and I just wanted to see if they had any Final Fantasy 15 guides. They did. I bought one. I walked out. I didn't get. He did look up my rewards card program because I wondered if it was expired or not, and it was. And then I said, okay, well, I don't want to renew it today. He was like, okay. He didn't try to push any kind of, used game because I wasn't there for a game. He didn't try to push like a pre-order or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So my experience was pretty good. I have had times though when I go in and I can't just go in there and get what I want without them being like, like, oh hey, you wanna renew your power up rewards?
Kermit the Frog here. I work at Games.
Hey.
You know, I work at GameStop.
Hey,
and
everybody.
I really think it would be good if you.
We want you to get used games.
How did that turn into Kermit the Frog?
You did it.
No, you sounded like him first.
I was just sounding like this, and then you took it one step beyond.
But yeah.
So, but they'll
They
be
can't
like,
be
they're like,
pushy,
hey,
yeah.
you want to buy, or I want to buy this game new. Hey, why not buy it used? No, I want a new copy. I'm only going to pay $5 extra for a brand new copy that no one has had their little grubby hands on when they're handling the disc. Because I've seen people do that. Mm-hmm. So, to me, it's almost never worth getting a used game. And if
unless it's an old game, because
and you're only paying like a couple bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll take a chance on that.
Yeah.
Goodwill is a good source for stuff like that. So that has happened. So I can definitely see this. Now the problem is in this Kotaku article, it basically states that people can get in trouble. And by the way, the I did mention that the pre-orders and the reward card subscriptions are based on the number of transactions, and then you have the sales for the used games that they have to hit. So let's just say that they had to let's say you work a night where there's a new game coming out, because they'll do that for major titles. They'll just stay open late and then you pick it up at midnight. All those associates in the store log those sales. Are they going to sell any pre-ordered games or not pre-ordered games? Are they going to sell any used games? No. So what's happening is their numbers are going up for the total number of sales, but they're not getting, like, let's just say that 30% of their sales are supposed to be pre-owned games. They're not getting that because no one shows up to launch night for a game
that's used
to buy a used game. Exactly. So it makes them harder because they have to work extra hard during the rest of the week to catch up on their used game sales. So that part is completely true, according to my source. And that part is completely stupid, according to me. Because
what part exactly?
The whole, like...
Where they work extra hard to meet the quota?
Well, when you have an event like that where a new game comes out, that messes with your numbers so that it looks like you're selling less of a percentage of used games when you don't have a chance to sell used games.
Yeah.
So, and I understand, like I said before, that's how GameStop survives. They have to sell used games. So it makes sense that they have an incentive to do that. It's just a negative incentive. Now, my source also said that in this article, as mentioned in this article, they say that, this is according to different people who work from GameStop, or work at GameStop. They will say that if they don't hit those numbers, they could possibly lose their job. And according to my source, who's not a grunt, by the way, his position is, someone in the company.
You gave away the gender.
They've
been compromised.
Oh no! How many males work at GameStop? But he does go to these conventions. He's able to see the numbers. He's not a grunt. He's not just a sales associate. So he gets to see a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, and you're not going to get fired for this, according to my source. So, in fact, what I was basically told, if you get fired for this, you're not actually getting fired for this. You're getting fired for something else.
Wait, for what exactly? For
not hitting your quotas. So take that as it is. I mean, again, his access is only to our local market. He's not a national guy by any means, but
wait, so I'm confused. What was it this article says something about, like, the employees were, like, lying to people?
Oh yeah, that was
what
another.
What does that have to do with any
So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because in this article, it says that some employees feel like they have to lie about having a new copy of a game in store
so that they can sell the
used copy.
Okay, yeah.
Because if they sell a new copy, it hurts their numbers, which it does. Now, should they be lying? No. But at the same time, that's kind of what the policy encourages one to do. Mm-hmm. So to me, I'm like, so my whole thing about this, looking at what my source says and what the article says and kind of mashing them together, it is a dumb policy overall. Now, GameStop over the years has had different, incentive programs that they've rolled out. This one just seems to be something that, it's a little bit, it doesn't really take enough things into account. Mm-hmm. It doesn't.
Obviously, it doesn't take the new releases into account.
Releases, or what if you're just an amazing salesperson and you sell a bunch of new games? Now, GameStop, I want to say,
since when did selling new games become a bad thing?
Well,
that's what it seems like.
Here's the deal. So I use that example. GameStop is, if they buy a new game for $20 and turn around and sell it for $55, they're making like a $35 profit off that sale. New games, they only make like, I want to say $3 to $5 on the sale. So they make a lot more. The store makes a lot more from selling used games because they completely control that on how much they're buying the games for and then turn around and selling them. Because you can sell a used game for anything.
Of course. I mean, because when they release a new game, obviously the company releasing them it gets most of the profit.
Right, and the store just gets a little chunk for carrying it there. So that's why they don't want too many of your transactions to be new games. Mm-hmm. So I think the policy should change. I don't know that people are losing their jobs over this because, let's face it, if you're working retail, I mean, there's a good chance that I'm not saying anything about your character, but I have seen people in retail just be pretty scummy, to be honest. And is this policy kind of scummy? Yeah, it kind of is, and it could be better. But just don't take. And by the way, Kotaku's not the best source for information, so this is kind of just a one-sided argument here. Mm-hmm. So don't just immediately believe everything that you read on the internet. Should go without saying, but